May I ask you a personal question? You need not answer if you prefer not to.
I honestly can't think of a question I wouldn't answer, especially now.
Since you're so close to death?
Well, that and the questions I've had to answer for the nurses. Some of them might be considered not only personal, but off-putting. For instance, the frequency, size, color, and consistency of my bowel movements. Oh, the last one was last Sunday, and it was pale in color and fairly soft.
I've got your bowel movement right here, kiddo.
These days, everyone is constantly sharing the tiniest details about what is going into their bodies. Just look at Facebook. And yet, what comes back out is highly confidential.
Well, can you imagine Facebook filling up with photos of everyone's toilet contents?
Point taken.
Just to reassure, I'm not the slightest bit interested in the size or colour or whatever of your, BMs. No, my original question was, are you afraid of death?
No, I am not. In fact, I'm rather intrigued by it. One minute I exist, the next I do not. What's it like? Is it like never having existed? I'm not the spiritual type, so for me, there's no other side, no next phase. Yet, not long ago, my neighbor informed me, in all seriousness and in the strictest of terms, that all of my beliefs were totally wrong, and that when I die, my soul would be reclaimed by our earliest ancestors, who were evidently from Saturn or one of its moons or some other nonsense. She gave me detailed instructions on what to do when I die, in order to avoid being imprisoned somewhere by some entity of some sort. I don't recall exactly what. I was too busy trying to stifle a laugh.
You're kidding. You're not kidding? I confess I was terrified of death, but since it's not something we have control over, at least in the case of an accident or murder, it's something of a dread.
So were you murdered?
I'm not inclined to say. My death shall therefore remain an enigma. But I do find it amusing that a non-spiritual, non-believer, what have you, spends his evenings chatting with spirits.
That is a good point. I don't believe in the afterlife or whatever you call it, but you're there. I cannot deny your existence. All I can say is that what's true for you may not necessarily be true for me. In other words, because you exist, it doesn't necessarily follow that I will experience the same transition from corporeal to non-corporeal.
Well, think about our friend Fire. He would not exist if you didn't recreate him every night. So clearly there is a connection between you.
Now, that is an interesting point. What will become of our friend when I pass?
The only thing I fear is water. But now, as I think about it, I suppose I should fear death all over again. Because my existence relies on you continuing to live.
I believe we do have something of a puzzle here.
Indeed.
Quite agree. I should hope that you become a shadow spirit and the two of us can go looking for someone to recreate Fire for us. It would also be nice to have a dance partner.
I do regret, my dear, that I cannot dance.
Then I shall have the great pleasure of teaching you.